to the beginning and tell us how you discovered your passion for the arts?
Oh boy. So I guess I started I started doing theater when I was a kid, probably 9 or 10 maybe. Um, and my family is very music family.
Hmm.
Grandpa was a opera singer. He was on Broadway in the late '50s, and my uncle started an opera house in Asheville, North Carolina. So we were kind of just like, we grew up going to the theater, and you know ergo I just kind of ended up doing that as a kid with school theater and some community theater and stuff. So I think when I got into my high school theater class with my theater teacher Molly Rice is when I really started, like, I think, developing a passion.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's I think where it started.
Yeah, when you look at your career, who or what's had the biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
Wow. Um, I'd say acting wise, I don't know. It changes all the time, constantly. But recently, Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of those actors that I always really admired.
Hmm.
Um, just because, I don't know. I mean, he came from the theater as well, but I think his ability to play uh, just kind of a variety of people on stage and in movies was like something that I really looked up to. So yeah, I think Philip Seymour Hoffman's a pretty good answer.
Yeah, definitely. And you've also had a lot of success already in your young career. When you look back, is there a particular moment that stands out to you?
Um, I don't know if there's like any really particular moment. I think uh, I think in terms of, like, it's not even like a professional career moment. I think it was
Hmm.
like when I was in college, I went to Western Carolina University, studied theater and English there, and I had a couple of friends, Jesse Allard and Corey Phelps, who funded their own short film, produced it, wrote it, they were directing it, and I got to be a part of that. So that was the first time I got to, like, really make a movie or a piece of art with friends that we were all really committed to. Um, and I don't know, it's still one of the most fun I've ever had working on something. So I think that was like, it was kind of like a glimpse into what I think that the good parts of what this career can offer. So
Yeah.
yeah, that moment, senior year, making that short film was definitely a notch in the rung for sure.
And then you're part of the cast of Outer Banks, which has become this kind of breakout hit in 2020. What do you think is resonating the most with audiences?
I think that's a good question. I think it's strange. I was talking about this with someone the other day, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I think the show hit at a really strange time for a lot of people in the world, and I think it's true escapism. It
Mm.
really is. I think people are craving that feeling of being with people that they love and being outdoors and experiencing life. And the show, in a way, is, I think a lot of people are living vicariously through it. Um, so, like, obviously it's a crazy time right now, but pretty fortunate that I guess it hit when it did, in a way.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's like, I think it's a bit of nostalgia. I think it's a bit of escapism that people are really resonating with right now.
Yeah, definitely. And then how was your character initially described to you, and how early on did you know where his storyline was heading?
I so originally I had auditioned for John B. I put it on tape and sent it in, and casting saw it, and they were like, you know, he's terrible for this part. He's not it at all. But we have this other role that we think he might be right for. So they brought me into to Charleston South Carolina, and I got to have like a director's session with Jonas and Shannon and a lot of people in the room. Lila Pate is his daughter. She was kind of like consulting him throughout the entire casting process. Yeah, I had that audition. So I was aware, and I was aware of him from that and the sides I got, but other than that, really not too much. I'd gotten a few episodes sent over, but I think there were only like 3 episodes written of the show. So I'd booked the part or whatever, Charleston, and then I think within that next couple of days, the writers kind of, Shannon Burke, one of the writers, kind of pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, so here's the direction we're going to be taking your character." And I was like, "Great, that sounds like a lot of fun." So yeah, I think there were only like 4 episodes written, but they had already kind of mapped out the trajectory of where Rafe was going and his part in the story.
Yeah, and then a lot of what motivates Rafe in the first season is kind of getting the approval from his father, which makes him do a lot of terrible things. How did you prepare to tackle that journey, and does he have any redeeming qualities?
Yeah, I think he does. I mean, I think it's obviously my job as an actor is to defend the characters that I play, but I think you hit it there. I think a lot of his motivations are driven by this really unhealthy, need to satisfy his father. So like once that relationship, maybe starts to develop in the second season, I don't know. We may see some better qualities of Rafe come out, but yeah, I mean, but besides that, he's this kind of narcissistic sociopath, kind of, borderline addict. And so there are some problems that he has to deal with for sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2 and if we get there eventually and where the character can go, it's left so open-ended. So I'm excited. It's, I don't know, a gift as an actor to have.
Yeah, and then we're also living in this really strange age where we have social media, so you get that instant feedback from audiences as they're watching the show. What's been the feedback regarding your character, and is it a strange kind of feeling / satisfying to know when people dislike your character?
Yeah, well, it's weird. I mean, it's like such a strange, again, it's like a weird time, and like we haven't really had like any face-to-face contact or feedback with people, so it's really hard to gauge, I think. Like the only thing we have is our phones to actually like see feedback, which is great. It's so quick. But yeah, I think I welcome the hate and like the dislike, and I don't know, it makes me feel good that people are disliking this character so much, because that was the goal. But I mean, that being said, it's been a lot of like, I've said this before, but it's been so much like love and positivity from people that I wasn't expecting. Because I've played pretty shitty characters before, and I got a lot of flack online. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's been a lot of like good things being thrown our way, the cast as a whole. So
Yeah,
I don't think we could be like better off with any, I guess, better fans, better people who watch the show. They've been great.
and you were touching on this a little bit earlier, but if the series gets picked up for a second season, where do you want to see your character's storyline head?
Oh man, I don't know. I've talked to Shannon and Josh a bit about that, like season 2, and I don't know. I mean, I'd like Rafe to step into a bit of power, step into a powerful position. I think he's set up for that, but I don't know. I'd like to see him maybe get closer with his dad Ward and see where that takes us. But like, I don't know, seeing Rafe and different social situations than just beating the shit out of Pope.
Yeah.
Although it's
And
fun, although it's super fun to film because JD and I are like great friends. I don't know. It's so open-ended, and the writers could take it a
yeah.
thousand directions. They're so good at that. So I'm open and welcome to any direction they want to take for them.
Yeah. And then speaking of relationships, which of Rafe's was your favorite to explore in the first season? And is there one that you want to explore further in season 2?
I think the relationship between Rafe and Sarah is interesting. I have siblings, and so like I kind of tried to take like the worst moments from like our experiences growing up and arguments and the bickering and try to apply it to that. But I'd like to see a little more. Yeah, I mean, that was super fun to work with. Early on, though, it was Rafe and Topper, that relationship. Austin North, who plays Topper, and I got to get to know each other like really quickly. And so it was cool. It was cool to get to like work and like, banter and play back and forth on set with someone that I got to know really fast. That was a lot of fun. I'd like to see, in terms of like a relationship that I like to see kind of expand. I don't know. There's no interactions really with Rafe and John B, which I feel is inevitable. Obviously, going if we get into it in season 2. So yeah, I want to see those two characters sit down in a room and talk. Like, I wonder what they would talk about. I think they'd be really interesting.
Yeah. And then besides Outer Banks, you have a couple other projects that are coming out soon. Are there any that you can chat about at this time?
Yeah, I have a small part in The Devil All the Time. It's a Netflix movie. Not too sure on the date on that. I can't really say. And another film called Embattled that'll maybe hitting the festival circuit soon. But also I did an indie film shot in Georgia a few years ago called Mine 9. It was released on Netflix around the time as Outer Banks. So yeah, I got those projects kind of out and about.
Love it. And then we like to end all of our interviews with a kind of pop culture speed round. Do you have a guilty pleasure TV show?
Guilty pleasure TV show. Oh gosh, Jersey Shore, for sure.
I think Rudy said the exact same show.
Just because, yeah, it's because we've been quarantined, or we have been quarantining, and Rudy had never seen Jersey Shore, and we were like, I think we were quoting it, and he was like, "What are you guys talking about?" And we were like, "It's Jersey Shore, it's Jim Tan Laundry," and he was like, "I've never seen it," and we were like, "What? Let's just watch the first episode," and then we just blasted through everything, like all seasons. We've been killing it. That's totally a guilty pleasure of mine for sure. I love that show. It's true art, I feel.
What about a guilty pleasure movie?
Guilty pleasure movie. Oh gosh, this is tough. Maybe any. I love Pixar movies. I feel like that's not a guilty pleasure, but I think they're incredible. It's hard not to watch them and not cry. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Pixar movie?
Oh no, man. That's a crazy question. Maybe The Incredibles. I love The Incredibles. I love Coco too. I watched Coco not too long ago and just like bawled my eyes out. And then Toy Story. I mean, you can't go
Yeah.
wrong with all the Toy Story movies.
What about a favorite book?
Favorite book? Um, let's see. I love East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good choice.
What about a favorite play or a musical?
Favorite play or musical? Maybe Buried Child by Sam Shepard. Favorite play.
What about a band or artist that fans would be surprised to learn is on your playlist?
Oh shoot. Let's see. Surprised? I don't know. I listen to, if this is like a guilty pleasure thing, John Mayer is definitely like one of those artists that I've listened to like tenfold. But yeah, I say John Mayer. Trying to think of anyone else. A lot of Biggie Smalls too. Ton of it.
Okay. And then final question, who would play you in the story of your life?
Oh Jesus. I think my brother Logan Starkey would play me in the story about my life. I think we look similar enough to where he could pull it off. He could do it. He's got the chops too, I think.